First contact and invasion. The morning light of twin suns cast long shadows across the agricultural fields of Neovenine, humanity's farthest colony from Earth. 37 light-years from home, the settlement had grown from a scientific outpost to a thriving community of 7,000 souls in just 15 years. Director Maya Santos walked along the edge of the primary hydroponics dome, admiring the resilience of the colonists who had transformed this once barren world into a place humans could call home. "Director, we have a situation." The voice of her chief of security, Kai Reeves, crackled through her comm unit. "What is it, Kai?" Santos continued her inspection route, her eyes scanning the horizon, where the settlement's buildings gave way to the reddish plains of Neovenine's northern hemisphere. Observatory picked up something unusual. Multiple objects entering the system at high velocity. They're not following natural orbital patterns. Santos stopped walking. In 15 years of colonization, they had encountered no evidence of intelligent alien life. Asteroids. Negative. They're changing course. Deliberately. 30 minutes later, Santos stood in the colony's command center, surrounded by her senior staff. The main screen displayed the approaching objects. 17 of them, in a tight formation. "They're ships," said Dr. Elena Novak, the colony's lead xenobiologist, her voice barely containing her excitement. "Actual alien spacecraft. First contact, after all these decades of searching." "Let's not jump to conclusions," Reeves countered, his military training evident in his rigid posture. "We don't know their intentions." "Have they responded to our hails?" Santos asked. Communications Officer Jordan Park shook his head. "Nothing. We've been broadcasting on all frequencies since detection." "How long until they reach us?" "At their current speed, 6 hours." Santos made her decision. "Send a message to Earth immediately. Inform them of our situation and request instructions." "That will take 37 years to reach them," Park reminded her. "I'm aware," Santos replied grimly. "But if things go badly, Earth needs to know what happened here." 4 hours later, the alien vessels entered orbit around Neovenine. Up close, their design became clear. Each ship resembled an elongated diamond, with surfaces that shimmered with an iridescent blue-green coloration. They positioned themselves in a perfect circle above the colony. "Still no response to our communications," Park reported. "Perhaps they communicate differently," Novak suggested. "Different sensory organs, different technology." The theory was rendered moot when the first energy beam lanced down from the largest ship. It struck the colony's main communication array, vaporizing it instantly. "They're attacking," Reeves shouted, unnecessary confirmation of what everyone could see. More beams followed, targeting the colony's defense systems, power generators, and spaceport. The precision was terrifying. The aliens knew exactly what to hit to cripple the colony's infrastructure while minimizing casualties. "Evacuate to the emergency bunkers," Santos ordered over the colony-wide communication system. "This is not a drill. All personnel proceed to your designated shelters immediately." The colonists had drilled for emergencies: solar flares, meteorite impacts, atmospheric contamination, but never an alien attack. Still, years of preparation paid off as they moved with surprising order toward the underground facilities built into the bedrock beneath the colony. Santos was the last to enter Bunker 1, the colony's primary command center during emergencies. The heavy doors sealed behind her with a hiss of pressurized air. "Status report," she demanded, taking her place at the central table. 93% of colonists accounted for in shelters, reported Dr. Olivia Chen, the colony's chief medical officer. "We're still getting stragglers." "Defense systems completely disabled," Reeves said. They knew exactly what to target. "Communications main array destroyed," Park said. "But we managed to get off the emergency message to Earth before they hit it. We have limited short-range capabilities through the backup systems." Santos nodded. "And our supplies?" "Food and water recycling for 60 days at full capacity," said Supply Officer Marcus Rodriguez. "Longer with rationing." What do they want? Novak asked, the question hanging in the air. No one had an answer. For 3 days, the aliens remained in orbit, occasionally destroying any technology the colonists attempted to repair on the surface. They made no attempt to communicate, no attempt to land troops, no attempt to finish what they had started. On the 4th day, Santos gathered her senior staff again. "They're containing us," Reeves said, "keeping us bottled up until we run out of supplies or attempt to fight back." "Maybe they're studying us," Novak suggested, "learning about us before they make their next move." "Whatever their reasons," Santos replied, "we need to understand what we're dealing with. Dr. Novak, I want you working with the science team to analyze everything we know about them. Reeves, assess our remaining defensive capabilities. Park, see if you can establish any form of communication with them." "And if we can't?" Rodriguez asked. Santos met his gaze steadily. "Then we prepare for the worst." Meanwhile, 37 light-years away, Earth was changing. The planet that had sent these colonists into the stars was no longer the cautious, exploring world it had been. Earth had united under a single defense command, its military capabilities expanding as humanity reached further into the cosmos. Admiral Zhao stood before the United Earth Defense Council in their underground chamber beneath the Himalayas. "The automated emergency beacon from Neovanine arrived 3 hours ago," he said, his voice echoing in the cavernous room. "It contains limited information, only that they detected 17 vessels of non-human origin entering their system, and that these vessels demonstrated hostile intent." Counselor Amara Okafor leaned forward. "After all this time, we finally encounter another intelligent species, and they attack without provocation." "We don't know the full circumstances," Joe cautioned. "The message was sent before any actual engagement. How long would it take our nearest military vessel to reach Neovanine?" asked Counselor Hiroshi Tanaka. "The UES Defender could reach them in approximately 14 months at maximum speed," Zhao replied. Council Chair Sofia Mendoza shook her head. "Too long. If the colony is truly under attack, they won't last 14 months. Zhao hesitated, then squared his shoulders. "There is one option that could provide immediate assistance." The room fell silent. "Project Leviathan," Zhao said. Several councilors shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "That ship was decommissioned," Okafor said, "for good reason." "It was placed in storage," Zhao corrected, "never dismantled." "Because we couldn't dismantle it," Tanaka muttered. "Not after what happened to the research team that tried." Project Leviathan was humanity's darkest secret, a warship built using technology recovered from a derelict alien vessel found drifting at the edge of the solar system 20 years earlier. The ship incorporated systems that defied conventional physics, including a drive capable of bending spacetime itself. But the technology had proven dangerously unpredictable, and after a series of incidents, the project had been mothballed. "The Leviathan could reach Neovanine in under 2 weeks," Joe said. "It remains our most advanced warship and potentially our only option for a rapid response." "And who would crew such a vessel?" Mendoza asked. "The neural interface alone drove 3 test pilots insane." "Not all of them," Zhao replied. Captain Ilara Chen successfully piloted the Leviathan during its final test phase. Before she disobeyed direct orders and nearly caused an interplanetary incident with the Mars colonies, Okafor reminded him. "Yes," Zhao acknowledged, "which is why she was court-martialed and imprisoned in the Australian detention facility." Mendoza studied him closely. "You've already spoken with her, haven't you?" "I have," Zhao admitted. "She's willing to pilot the Leviathan again, in exchange for a full pardon." The council chamber erupted in debate. After 3 hours of argument, they reached their decision. "We will reactivate Project Leviathan," Mendoza announced. "May God help us all." Captain Ilara Chen stood on the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, staring at the sleek, midnight black vessel docked in the hangar below. Even dormant, the Leviathan radiated a sense of wrongness, its hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it, its angle seeming to shift when viewed from different perspectives. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Admiral Joe said, stepping up beside her. "Beautiful isn't the word I'd use," Chen replied. At 38, she remained athletic and sharp, despite 3 years in military prison. Her black hair was now streaked with premature gray, a side effect, the doctor said, of her neural connection with the Leviathan. Terrifying. Impossible. Alive. Those are more accurate. "She's been waiting for you," Zhao said. Chen laughed bitterly. "Don't personify it. Admiral, that ship isn't a she. It's a thing we don't understand and can't control. And yet you agreed to pilot it again." 7,000 colonists, Chen said simply. "What choice do I have?" 24 hours later, the Leviathan was ready. Its systems had been reactivated, its weapons loaded, its experimental drive primed. The crew was minimal, just Chen as pilot, 3 engineers to maintain the systems they partially understood, and a small security team led by Commander Marcus Jackson, who had served with Chen before her fall from grace. "The neural interface is stable," reported Chief Engineer Dr. Samira Patil. "Ready when you are, Captain." Chen took a deep breath and settled into the pilot's chair at the center of the bridge. Unlike conventional ships with their controls and displays, the Leviathan's bridge was nearly empty, just a single chair with neural connectors. Initiating interface in 3, 2, 1. The world dissolved around Chen as her mind merged with the ship. It was like diving into a dark ocean, feeling the vast presence of something ancient and alien beneath her. But this time, she was prepared. She had spent 3 years in prison preparing for this moment, developing mental techniques to maintain her sense of self while connected to the Leviathan. "Captain Chen is stable," she heard Patel say distantly. Neural patterns holding steady. "Leviathan, prepare for departure." Zhao's voice came through the ship's communication system. Chen didn't need to press buttons or give verbal commands. She simply thought, and the ship responded, its engines humming to life. "Course set for Nova 9, she announced, her voice eerily calm as her consciousness balanced between human and ship. Initiating spacefold drive in 10 seconds. The Leviathan pulled away from the lunar base, accelerating smoothly into space. Spacefold drive engaged. The stars blurred, and then vanished altogether as the Leviathan slipped between the fabric of spacetime. On Nova 9, the situation was deteriorating. 2 weeks had passed since the initial attack. The aliens had begun systematically destroying the colony's surface structures, though they still made no attempt to breach the underground bunkers. "They're toying with us," Reeves said, watching the surveillance feed as another building collapsed under the alien energy beams. "Or sending a message," Novik countered. "I believe they're showing us their technological superiority, hoping we'll surrender without them having to risk a ground assault." Santos rubbed her tired eyes. "Have we made any progress in communicating with them?" "Nothing," Park replied. "We've tried every conceivable method. Radio, light signals, even crude physical messages laid out on the ground. And our supplies." Rodriguez looked grim. "At the current consumption rate, we have about 40 days left." The colony was trapped in a waiting game they couldn't win. With each passing day, morale declined. Children cried from hunger as rations were reduced. Medical supplies dwindled as injuries from the cramped conditions mounted. And then, on the 15th day, everything changed. "Director," Park burst into the command center. "We're picking up something on our remaining sensors. Something big, approaching at incredible speed." Santos rushed to his station. "Another alien ship." "No," Park said, his voice trembling with what might have been fear or hope. It's giving off human identification signals." Humanity's wrath unleashed. The Leviathan emerged from its space fold with a ripple of distorted reality. The ship's sensors, far more advanced than anything humanity had officially developed, immediately detected the alien vessels in orbit around Nova 9. For Ilara Chen, Connected to the ship through the neural interface, the information came not as data on a screen, but as direct awareness. She could feel the alien presence, 17 ships arranged in a perfect circle above the colony. "We've arrived at Nova 9, she announced to her small crew. 17 alien vessels detected in orbit. Colony infrastructure shows significant damage. Commander Jackson peered over Dr. Patel's shoulder at the sensor display. They haven't noticed us yet. We're still at extreme range. They will soon, Chen replied, her voice unnaturally calm. The neural interface dampened emotional responses, a feature that had both helped and hindered her in the past. Activating stealth systems. The Leviathan's hull shimmered, the already black material seeming to absorb even more light, becoming a void against the backdrop of space. "We need information before we engage," Chen said. "Dr. Patel, can you establish communication with the colony?" The engineer worked quickly. "Sending tight beam transmission now, on encrypted channels." Down in Bunker 1, Communications Officer Park jumped as his console pinged. "Director, we're receiving a transmission." It's from an Earth vessel." Santos rushed over. "How is that possible?" "Put it through." The screen flickered to life, showing the face of a woman with striking features and gray-streaked black hair. Her eyes had an unsettling quality, focused yet somehow distant. "Nova 9 Colony, this is Captain Ilara Chen of the UES Leviathan. We've received your distress call and are here to provide assistance. What is your situation?" Santos couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Captain Chen, this is Director Maya Santos. We're under attack by an unknown alien force. They've destroyed our defenses and communication systems. We're sheltering in underground bunkers with limited supplies. But how are you here?" "Earth is 37 light-years away." A faint smile touched Chen's lips. "We have our methods, Director. Can you tell me anything about the attackers? Have they attempted communication? Made any demands?" "None," Santos replied. "They arrived, disabled our critical systems, and have been containing us ever since. They've made no attempt to communicate." Chen nodded. "Understood. We'll handle it from here. Stay in your shelters until we give the all-clear." The transmission ended, leaving Santos staring at the blank screen. "Did that just happen?" Reeves asked. "It appears so," Santos replied. "The question is, what can one ship do against 17? Aboard the Leviathan, Chen processed the information. The neural interface allowed her to think faster, consider more variables simultaneously than any normal human mind. "They haven't attempted communication with the colony," she told her crew. "That suggests either an inability to communicate with humans or a deliberate choice not to. Or they don't care what humans have to say," Jackson added grimly. "Either way, we need to get their attention," Chen said, preparing to reveal our position. The Leviathan deactivated its stealth systems, becoming visible to the alien vessels. Almost immediately, 3 of the diamond-shaped ships broke formation, moving to intercept the newcomer. "They've spotted us," Patel announced unnecessarily. "Weapons systems online," Chen said, feeling the Leviathan's armaments as extensions of her own body. "But let's try communication first. Broadcast on all frequencies, all formats." The Leviathan sent out a universal greeting. Mathematical sequences, visual representations of peaceful intent, basic linguistic structures derived from human languages. The alien response came in the form of energy beams, similar to those used against the colony. They lanced toward the Leviathan with deadly precision. But the human ship was ready. Without Chen needing to give a verbal command, the Leviathan's defense systems activated. The energy beams struck a shimmering field around the ship and were absorbed, the barrier rippling like water but holding firm. "They're scanning us," Paddle reported. "Intense energy signatures directed at our hull." Chen smiled grimly. "They're trying to figure out what we are. Let's show them." The Leviathan surged forward, moving with impossible speed and agility for a vessel of its size. It weaved between the 3 intercepting ships, too fast for their weapons to track. Targeting their propulsion systems, Chen announced. Non-lethal demonstration. From the Leviathan's hull emerged what looked like liquid darkness, tendrils of matter that shouldn't exist in normal space. These tentacle-like projections wrapped around the alien ship's engine sections, constricting. The effect was immediate. The alien vessels lost power, drifting helplessly. In the colony bunkers, the colonists watched in awe through their remaining sensor network. "What kind of ship is that?" Novak whispered. "Those capabilities aren't like anything in Earth's arsenal." "Maybe that's the point," Reeves replied. "Maybe Earth wanted the aliens to see something they couldn't understand, just like what they showed us." Back in space, the remaining alien vessels reacted to the Leviathan's demonstration, breaking their formation above the colony and moving to engage the human ship. They arranged themselves in a new pattern, clearly designed to trap the Leviathan between overlapping fields of fire. "They're adapting their tactics," Jackson observed. "That suggests intelligence, strategy." "Yes," Chen agreed. "They're not mindless. All the more reason to find a way to communicate." The alien fleet fired simultaneously, energy beams converging on the Leviathan from multiple directions. Once again, the ship's defenses held, but the strain was evident. The shimmering barrier flickered momentarily. "Defensive systems at 82% capacity," Paddle reported. "We can't absorb that kind of concentrated fire indefinitely." "We don't need to," Chen replied. "Time to show them what we're really capable of." The Leviathan seemed to pulse, its hull rippling as if the ship were breathing. Then, without warning, it vanished, only to reappear behind the alien formation. "Micro-space fold complete," Chen announced. Targeting their command ship, the largest of the alien vessels, positioned at the center of their new formation, suddenly found the Leviathan directly above it. Before it could react, the human ship extended its dark tendrils again, this time completely enveloping the alien command vessel. "Initiating interface protocol," Chen said, her voice strained. What she was attempting went beyond the Leviathan's design parameters. She was trying to use the neural interface to connect not just with her own ship, but with the alien vessel as well. Pain lanced through her mind as foreign concepts and alien thought patterns flooded in. Images, sensations, and emotions not meant for human comprehension threatened to overwhelm her. "Captain," Patel cried in alarm as Chen's vital signs spiked dangerously. Chen gritted her teeth. "I'm fine. I can see what they are." Through the chaotic flood of information, Chen began to piece together understanding. The aliens, they called themselves the Nexari, were not invaders in the traditional sense. They were seekers, explorers like humanity, but with a critical difference in philosophy. They believed that true intelligence could only be proven through survival. When they encountered a new species, they tested it, containing it, isolating it, forcing it to demonstrate adaptability and resilience. Species that surrendered or failed to defend themselves were deemed unworthy of equal status in the galaxy, and humanity had just passed their test. Chen broke the connection, gasping as her mind separated from the alien consciousness. "I know what they want," she said, "and I know how to respond." The Leviathan released the alien command ship that maintained position directly above it, a clear demonstration of power. Then, using the understanding gained from the brief connection, Chen transmitted a message in the Nexari's own conceptual language. The response was immediate. The alien ships powered down their weapon systems and resumed their original formation. "What did you say to them?" Jackson asked. Chen smiled wearily. "I told them that humans don't appreciate being tested without consent, and that if they wanted to know our capabilities, they could have simply asked. I also informed them that we have many more ships like the Leviathan, and that any further unprovoked attacks on human colonies would be met with similar responses." "A bluff?" Patil asked quietly. "A necessary one," Chen replied. "And not entirely false. The technology exists. We've just chosen not to fully embrace it until now." The largest alien ship transmitted a response, a complex series of energy patterns that the Leviathan systems translated. "They're apologizing," Chen said with surprise. "In their culture, this kind of testing is normal. They didn't consider it an attack, but a necessary evaluation of our species. They're requesting formal diplomatic contact." 48 hours later, Director Santos stood on the surface of Neova-9, watching as a shuttle descended from the Leviathan. The alien ships remained in orbit, now peaceful observers rather than threatening presences. Captain Chen emerged from the shuttle, walking somewhat unsteadily. Up close, Santos could see the toll the mission had taken. Chen's face was gaunt, her eyes haunted. "Captain," Santos greeted her. "On behalf of the colony, thank you." Chen nodded. "The threat has been neutralized. The Nexeri have agreed to help repair the damage they caused as a gesture of, let's call it apology." Nexeri. Novacast, standing nearby. "That's what they call themselves," Chen explained. "They're explorers, like us, but with very different methods for evaluating new species. And they just agreed to leave us alone." Reeves asked skeptically. Chen's expression darkened momentarily. "I convinced them that humanity wasn't to be trifled with. Admiral Zhao is already on his way with a diplomatic team to establish formal relations. He should arrive in 13 months. 13 months, Santos repeated. "While you got here in 2 weeks. How is that possible?" Chen looked up at the sky, where the Leviathan orbited invisibly. "Some questions are better left unanswered, Director. At least for now." Later, as the colony celebrated their survival and the dawn of humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, Chen stood alone at the edge of the settlement, staring at the stars. Commander Jackson found her there. "The engineers say the ship is changing," he said without preamble. "The whole configuration, the internal systems, they're adapting, evolving." "I know," Chen replied. "I can feel it." "What does that mean for us? For humanity?" Chen considered the question. The Leviathan represented a turning point. Technology humanity wasn't ready for, power they didn't fully understand. And now, first contact with a spacefaring civilization. "It means the universe just got a lot smaller, Commander. And humanity just got a seat at a much larger table." In the darkness above, the Leviathan waited. Earth's deadliest ship, its greatest secret, and now its first true ambassador to the stars. Whatever came next, humanity had proven one thing beyond doubt. They would not go quietly into the night. The Nexeri had believed humanity wouldn't answer their challenge. Then Earth's deadliest ship appeared, changing everything.